Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to take a quick look at the game Septikon. Now it's important to know that Septikon was released in Russia back in 2012, but it's currently on Kickstarter in an effort to get the funds it needs to launch internationally. That means that basically everything that you see here may or may not be subject to change. For example, the box art is in Russian, so I'm sure that the international version may be a little bit different. Septikon is a game for two players. It's a mix of tower offense and tower defense. Basically, you've got two players, each with a mining asteroid equipped with the latest weaponry and technology. And basically, you're going to be beating the tar out of each other in an effort to try and get your hands on uranium, which is a very rare resource. Let's take a quick look at the board and the pieces, and we'll go from there. Alright, now there's a lot going on here, but I'll just try and highlight the relevant things. Basically, the board is broken up into three different sections. You've got Player 1's asteroid on one side, Player 2's asteroid on this side, and empty space in between them. Basically, players will be rolling dice and moving these workers, or they're called clones, around their asteroid, activating different modules. And depending on what module these workers land on, different things happen. That might include building offensive weaponry or shooting offensive weaponry, converting one resource into another resource, different things like that. Alright, now each asteroid is broken up into a crap ton of different modules, and it would take forever to go into what they all do. And in fact, that's really where the learning curve comes into play. It's going to take you a few games to really get a handle on what each one does without having to consult the manual each time. But to sum this up, the asteroid is broken up into a few different parts. The four rows along the middle, these four and these four, those are warehouse zones. Basically, all they do is they hold these resources, and you can see you'll get a ton of different cubes. In fact, just a ton of different cubes to track the resources that you'll be producing and consuming throughout the game. Along the bottom is the production zone. Down here, you can land on one of these modules to convert one resource or multiple resources into a particular resource. So if you have a ton of biomass, for example, you could land on, say, the oxygen module and convert some of that biomass into oxygen. And some of the resources that you'll be acquiring in this game, that is actually a necessary step. So a lot of the time, you'll be getting a lot of a particular resource, and you have to convert that into a specific resource, and then convert those into a specific resource. It all depends on what you plan to do during your game. Along the top, you'll have a lot of different options in terms of combat. This is actually called the, I believe, the combat or battle zone. Basically, when you land on these things, you can perform different actions. Like, you can use a laser, you can consume energy, which is represented by the little icon on the lower right, and you can consume energy and shoot lasers across the battlefield at your opponent's asteroid. And as you and your opponent do damage to each other, you'll be putting these little, I don't know if I can zoom in on that, it's a little small, but you can put these little damage icons down on the asteroid to represent damage. And depending on where these damage tokens are, they will affect your asteroid in different ways. Now, the winner of Septikon is the person that manages to damage their opponent to the point where they won't be able to do any damage to you. But that can take a while, and like I said, this game does get a little complicated at times. There is an easier variant in the rulebook. Basically, if you manage to do 15 points or more damage, if you have 15 of these icons on your opponent's asteroid, they'll automatically lose. And I highly recommend checking out that variant first before you get into the longer game. Alright, and that's just a very brief look at the game Septikon. I didn't get into everything that I wanted to cover. Things like satellites, for example, they can be put into space to shoot down incoming projectiles. Shields, you can put those down in front of your asteroid to stop incoming projectiles. The dice mechanic, not only does rolling dice move your clones around the board, but it also serves as the time that passes as rockets make their way across the battlefield. You can send bio drones over to your opponent's asteroid and blow things up. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot I didn't cover, but it's a lot of fun. If you like what you see here, you can check out the game on Kickstarter. There's a link in the below description, or you can check out the written preview at www.dadsgamingaddiction.com. This is Vince, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.